World War II, a time of global conflict, unprecedented brutality, and collectible card games? Yes, you heard that right. While history books may focus on tanks and battleships, a secret weapon was deployed in the fight against fascism: cardboard. The collectible card games of World War II were a little different. They weren't exactly Magic the Gathering, but they served a surprisingly similar purpose. These games, often featuring patriotic themes and heroic Allied soldiers, offered a unique way to engage the public, spread propaganda, and even fund the war effort. Imagine, if you will, a world where your pack of bubblegum came with a picture of General Patton, a stick of gum, and the chance to learn about tank warfare. That's the world we're talking about, a world where even your chewing gum had a patriotic duty. It was a simpler time, folks. These weren't your grandma's bridge games, though, unless your grandma was really into defeating fascism. These card games were designed to be engaging, educational, and just a tad propagandistic. It all started with a starter deck. This basic set of cards introduced players to the game's mechanics and the key players in the global conflict. Think of it like a crash course in good guys versus Nazis. You'd get your stalwart American GIs, your plucky British Tommies, and of course the valiant Soviet soldiers holding the Eastern Front. But the real fun began with the booster packs. These little packets of cardboard crack held the promise of rare cards, powerful units, and the chance to build an unstoppable Allied army. Want to add a squadron of Sherman tanks to your forces? Booster pack. Need a crack team of paratroopers to secure that bridge? Booster pack. Just like today, the thrill was in the chase, the hope of finding that one card to complete your deck and crush your Axis opponents. Now, you might be thinking, sure, card games are fun, but how did they help fight actual Nazis? Well, dear listener, that's where the genius of this whole scheme really comes into play. See, those booster packs weren't just about collecting cool cards. They were a sneaky way to raise money for the war effort. Every time a kid, or let's be honest, an adult with too much time on their hands, bought a pack, a portion of that money went straight into the coffers of the Allied governments. It was like crowdfunding. But instead of a Kickstarter campaign, it was a Kickstart the Germans Out of France campaign. Think about it. Millions of people, all contributing their nickels and dimes to buy cardboard rectangles. It might not seem like much, but it all added up. Those tanks and planes don't pay for themselves, you know. Turn the war effort into a game, get the public involved, and bam, you've got yourself a self-funding army. Take that, Axis powers. Section 4. Propaganda on my playing cards? It's more common than you think. Now let's address the elephant in the room, or rather the propaganda on the playing cards, because yes, these games were chock full of it. But hey, this was war, and subtlety wasn't exactly a top priority. Imagine, if you will, a card featuring a heroic American soldier, muscles bulging, single-handedly taking down a Nazi tank with a well-aimed grenade. Below him in bold letters, the words, "Democracy fights back," or perhaps a card depicting a group of smiling factory workers churning out tanks and planes with the caption, "Every worker a soldier." Subtle? No. Effective? You bet. These cards were designed to instill patriotism, demonize the enemy, and remind everyone what was at stake. They were mini posters you could hold in your hand, a constant reminder that the fight for freedom was a game everyone could play. Section 5. Victory shuffled in. Did collectible card games really topple the Third Reich? So, did these collectible card games single-handedly win the war? Well, no. It wasn't quite that simple. World War II was won through the blood, sweat, and tears of countless soldiers on the battlefield, through the tireless efforts of those on the home front, and through a healthy dose of international cooperation. But did these games play a role? Absolutely. They boosted morale, raised funds, and spread propaganda, all while providing a much-needed distraction from the realities of war. They were a small part of a much larger effort, but every little bit helped. Section 6. Epilogue. The legacy of cardboard heroes and their fight for freedom. The war may be over, but the legacy of these collectible card games lives on. They serve as a reminder of a time when even the simplest things, like a deck of cards, could be used to fight for a greater cause. They also offer a glimpse into the power of propaganda, both good and bad. These cards may have been simplistic, even crude at times, but they were effective in conveying a message and rallying support for the war effort. And hey, if nothing else, They're a fascinating footnote in the annals of history, a testament to human ingenuity and our never-ending quest to turn everything, even war, into a game. So the next time you're shuffling a deck of cards, take a moment to remember the cardboard heroes of World War II and the role they played in defeating fascism.